offered advice and guidance to help me in every way. Example, the kind of man that he was. Relentless in his competitive desire to win, but was always a gentleman, a professional, and a trusted partner. Pat's pursuit of excellence both on the field and in the community made the league better. He was a leader both in his support over the years. My heartfelt condolences go out to his beloved wife, Annabelle, his children, Broncos and their fans. He will be greatly missed, but his legacy will endure through the team he built, the community he loved, and his well-deserved recognition as a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Thanks, Bob Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots, for that as well. We now go out to the hotline and bring in former Broncos head coach Dan Reeves. Dan, how you doing this morning?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. My thoughts and prayers also go out to Annabelle and the entire Bowlen family. It's a sad day, and, Pat and I are a month apart as far as age, so it tells you that we're not all of us are going to be gone at one time or another, and just hate to see it, this time for Pat, particularly when he was, getting ready to go into the Hall of Fame. It would have been nice for him to, been able to be there.
Dan, Tyler Columbus here. Really appreciate the time. I had the opportunity to play for Pat for 4 years, and, I obviously had the opportunity to play for a handful of other owners as well. And I've been bringing some personal stories about what it's like as a player to have Pat as an owner. And now it's cool to have you on the phone here because I would like to get your angle on, as a coach, what it's like playing for coaching for certain owners and what it was like coaching for Pat and what made him unique.
Well, I think first of all, I was coach of the Broncos at the time, and all of a sudden, hear that the club has just been sold and sold for, a lot of money. And immediately you think, well, if it paid that kind of money, it certainly has in mind, somebody wants to be the head coach. And, when I talked to Pat, the first thing he said to me was that I bought the Broncos and I want you to be my head coach. And that was a tremendous, relief for me because I certainly enjoyed, being the head coach of the Broncos. And I think it got even better, when Pat became the owner, because he was very much an owner that wanted to do whatever, you felt like you needed to be successful. And, he was always that way, always asking you, what can I do to help you make your job better? And that's what you like to see, as a coach. When you have an owner that's that supportive of you, and Pat was always that way. Always certainly had the franchise's best interest in mind, as an owner, but he also wanted to be a guy that could help you do your job as best you could possibly do it. And he was always that way and just always very supportive. And, I can remember when he let me go, I felt, bad, but I felt just as bad because, he made it feel like it was harder for him than it was for me. I didn't know who felt the worst. And, you have to make those tough decisions. And he felt like that was the best thing. And that's the way Pat was. He was going to do what he thought was best, for the franchise. And, he certainly made a good move because they continued to, to do the job. Mike Shanahan did a great job, as a coach and won championship. So, Pat was always, one of the best at knowing exactly, what to do and how to do it and doing it in a professional way.
Talking with Dan Reeves, former head coach of the Denver Broncos. Dan, what was it like? I was 3 years old when Pat Bowlen bought the Denver Broncos. I don't remember what it was like at that point in time. What was the era around that? Because you had Pat buying the Broncos. It's right around the same time that John Elway's coming in. You're young in your career as a head coach. What was the era like around the Denver Broncos at that time?
Well, it was great being the head coach of the Denver Broncos. I thought everything was going fine, and then I get a call one day and said, I want you to meet the new owner of the Denver Broncos. This was on the phone, and said, I want you to talk to Pat Bowlen, and I was just totally amazed that all of a sudden the team was sold, and you've got great things going through your mind about, well, gosh, what's going to happen and so forth. And it was just a great transition. Pat made it very easy to do. He handled it with a tremendous amount of class, as he always did. And, he wanted you to run the club, but he wanted to, know that, he was going to be there supportive and give you everything that you needed, to try to be successful. So, he was a big reason, that we were able to, to get John Elway, because he was very supportive of, what we were trying to do and so forth. So, Pat he was just great to work for. He was, his whole family, we're just great, a great family. And that's really what a football, team is. It's a family, whether it be the players, whether it be coaches, owners, it's everybody working together, with a common cause.
Coach, you led the Broncos to 6 postseason appearances and 3 Super Bowl appearances. Now, obviously, I'm sure that's a little bit bittersweet for you because the 3 you didn't walk away with the victory from. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, your era, which was led by yourself and Pat Bowlen, that really set the foundation for what the Denver Broncos are even today. But, after those Super Bowl appearances, which I'm sure were tough to walk away from, kind of curious, what does that say about Pat and just, the strive for excellence that, yeah, we got there, yet it's not quite enough, yet I'm sure it was celebrated to some degree, yet it was a disappointment to another. Just kind of curious behind the scenes what that looked like.
Well, I think it was something that was a driving force for us also is, we got there, but let's continue to, try to improve and, let's win this thing. And, he was going to do whatever he felt like it took for us to, get over that hump and win a championship. And unfortunately, I was on the other side for the team when they did win the championship. So, in some kind of way, I guess I can look at it and say, hey, I helped them win a championship. It was just great working for Pat, and it's just a sad time. And, we're a month apart, so we're about the same age. Had family, and family was very important to both of us. Annabelle was, a sweet lady, and it was just a great relationship, and I enjoyed the time there, and Pat was a big reason for that. So, like I said, my heartfelt condolences go out to, the Bowlen family, because I know how difficult that is to lose someone you love.
Once again, we're talking with former Broncos head coach Dan Reeves. Dan, 2-part questions here. One, was it different working for such a young owner? And then the other part of that was you were the head coach that bridged the gap between the two owners. Was there an immediate culture shift there once Pat got there?
Well, first of all, I think, it was really nice to be there, because Pat, immediately said, I don't know, a lot about running. I know a lot about running a business, but I don't know a lot about running football. So I want to, you to help me make this transition and let's make it successful, and you let me know, what you need. So, I think he, took a great approach to how to do it, and didn't come in saying, I know everything, let's do it this way and so forth. He was very, very cooperative in helping you be the best that you could be. And, I tried to do everything I could to help him be the best owner he could be.
You guys are listening to Coach Dan Reeves. And, Coach, we're going to let you go here. But before we do, just on a personal note here, I've never met you, but, maybe the single biggest influencer in my life is former chaplain of the Broncos, Bill Rader. He's told me some incredible stories about you. I've heard some personal stories that I feel like I know you. So one day I'd love to sit down and have lunch with you. And thanks for everything you did for this team, and thanks for everything you did this morning in the time. So. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, and you can't believe everything Bill tells you now.
I know it. Trust me. If I know anything, I know that. Yeah.
Tell Bill hello for me, and listen. Like I said, just give my condolences to the Bowlen family, and I appreciate y'all giving me an opportunity to talk about Pat, who was such a great time in my life, and he gave me an opportunity that I will never forget.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.
Absolutely.
All right, thank y'all.
Former Broncos head coach Dan Reeves there. He was the head coach during the purchase and the transition from Mr. Kaiser to Mr. Bowlen.
Yeah,
good to get that perspective.
You know what? I actually didn't put those two together. I didn't put 2 and 2 together on that one. That Coach Reeves